Everyone dreams of winning the lottery. However, suddenly coming into such a giant sum of money doesn't necessarily mean smooth sailing. When greedy friends and family members come out of the woodwork, there is no telling how far they will go to get a piece of the money. Just ask Abraham Shakespeare, a Florida man who went from the luckiest guy alive to the star of a sinister mystery. But before we start, please take a moment to give this video a like, subscribe to Worldwide Trends and hit the bell so you'll never miss an upload from us. As soon as Abraham won the enormous jackpot, so-called friends began looking for a piece of the pie. A friend who accompanied Shakespeare to the store to buy the lottery ticket was asking for $1 million. He would later claim that Shakespeare stole the ticket from his wallet. The story was clearly made up, but it was still taken to court. Fortunately, Shakespeare won the case. However, he no longer felt safe in the neighborhood he grew up in, so he moved to a gated community. One of the more nefarious characters that appeared in Abraham's life around this time was Dee-Dee Moore. She was an old flame who sold Abraham on the idea that she wanted to become his financial manager. Up to this point, Shakespeare was incredibly careful with his money. His only substantial purchases were the $1 million home he escaped to, a Rolex, and a new car. For a man who just won the chance of a lifetime, Abraham was strangely quiet, and the police finally figured out why. He had disappeared. Naturally, the first suspect was Dee-Dee Moore. She listed several places he could be, claiming she even helped him get away from the consistent harassment. Despite his sophisticated name, Abraham Shakespeare was illiterate. This was important because out of nowhere, he began having fully coherent text conversations with his close friends and family. People became doubtful that they were speaking with the real Abraham, and they were right, of course. It was Dee-Dee they were talking to. Instinctively, Shakespeare's family grew more concerned as time passed by, without a word from the real Abraham. They eventually filed a police inquiry and directed authorities towards Moore's home. What the police found when they entered Moore's house was disturbing. Buried 9 feet deep in her own backyard was Shakespeare's body. Police continued questioning Dee-Dee until she finally confessed. She stated that she had killed Abraham in self-defense and alleged that Abraham was abusive. But with her track record, the cops were hardly convinced. Moore was also caught attempting to pay off numerous individuals to take the fall for the crime. She was allegedly offering up to $200,000 for someone to speak to the authorities and say that they, in fact, murdered Shakespeare. Dee-Dee Moore was found guilty of first-degree murder, and she was sentenced to life in prison. Let the story of Abraham Shakespeare serve as a cautionary tale if you ever become an instant millionaire. Shakespeare was far from the only lotto winner to regret his luck.